Chapter 14. Climbing the Himalayas. You marched a few feet away from us, and away from the dump, and stood with your hands on your hips. Cootie stayed by your side. "Sorry, Ruku," I said. "We have to stay." "No, Viji," you said in a reasonable tone. "Go." "We don't have a choice. Believe me, I don't love it here." You pinched your nostrils shut. "It's not the nicest place, but it's so we can stay together, Ruku." You cocked your head. "If I don't work here and earn money, we'll have to run right back to Appa. Understand?" "Appa hit Viji," you said slowly. "Appa hit Amma." My throat felt tight. You hadn't said anything about how he'd hit you. "Viji and Ruku, together." You came over and patted my cheek. "Ruku will make necklaces," you announced. I hugged you tight. "Where's Ruku gonna sit?" Muthu said. My eyes darted from one mound to another, wondering what to do, but you solved the problem yourself. You found a plastic bucket to sit on under the shade of a thorny tree, about as far from the rubbish range as you could go while still staying within sight. You weren't as sheltered from the sun as I would have liked, but there was nothing we could do about that. You opened your bag and pulled out a nice long piece of string and knotted the end with a bead so the rest wouldn't fall off. You worked quietly, your fingers sifting through the beads, searching for another that matched. I had to start working too. What do I do? I hitched up my skirt as high as I could. Search. Muthu prodded a broken bottle at the base of the mound. For treasure, like this. Glass or metal scraps are best. The Waysmart man will even buy cardboard and cloth if they're not too tattered. Hesitantly, I prodded the mound closest to me. Nestling between a rusty can and a broken bottle that was the carcass of a rat. Nausea rippled through me, but I couldn't give up before I started. I tried to pick up the bottle with my stick, but it slid deeper into the rubbish. The Waysmart man pays nicely for glass and metal, so we can't let it go. Arul grabbed the bottle with his bare hands and dropped it into my sack. But this? He jabbed at an empty juice carton and sent it tumbling farther down into the rubbish. Is worthless. Thanks. Sorry. Don't worry, you'll be an expert in no time. I didn't say I don't want to be an expert rag picker. I want to be a teacher. With an effort, I swallowed my words and the bile that had risen in my throat and stepped farther into the mound. The rubbish heap seemed to come alive as I walked through it, sucking at my slippers like a hungry beast. My feet sank into the slimy mess, and I lost sight of my toes. Flies swarmed around my ankles. "Shuffle along slowly, like you're wading through a river," Arul advised. He made it sound easy, but it wasn't. I squelched along as best I could, making slow progress. I speared a damp rag and shook it into my sack. But when I spotted a bottle, half filled with sour milk, I had to reach for it with my bare hands. I wanted to run away screaming. The only thing that kept me going was how peaceful you looked when I glanced back at you, sitting cross-legged, making another bead necklace, with Cootie, alert and attentive, next to you. Arul must have realized what a slog it was for me, because every now and then he called out, "Nice work." We worked for so long with the sun beating down on our skin that my head started to hammer with pain. And it was mercy when Arul finally said, "Enough, let's stop." My spirit sank even deeper when I compared their loot with mine. I'm useless. I haven't even got half as much as either of you. Don't worry. Arul peered into my sack. Lots of good stuff in there. We have more, but it's not worth as much. You'll see. Other than you, no one had ever shown me such loyalty. Even half empty, my sack was heavier than anything I'd carried before. But with you humming softly as you put away your beads, and our two new friends beaming at me like my sack was filled with precious gems, I shouldered my burden without complaint, my back straight, my steps light.